This is your first feature in 13 years, I believe?
Is it that long?
Towelhead was 2007.
So it is that long, huh?
Yeah. What brought you back to features?
Well, I've been writing features on and off over the past 10 years, even while I've been doing the television shows, just because I love movies and I love writing in that medium. So I have a stack of scripts that I'm just sort of sitting on. And after after the last series I did for HBO, I just wanted to do something different. I wanted to do something that was more contained and that would challenge me a little bit more, and not just do the same thing over and over again. And so I grabbed one of my scripts and started hawking it around town and trying to get it made. And that's a long process because it's really hard to get a movie made. And
Actually, talk about that a little bit because it feels like the world has changed a lot in that period. I mean, not that making indie films was ever easy, but it seems like it's that much more challenging now.
This one was certainly challenging, and we ended up making it for about $14 over a period of about 3 days.
And I took 12 of those dollars.
But it's a hard time. I look back at, I don't even know if American Beauty would get made today, or it would probably be made for TV. It certainly wouldn't be made theatrically. Everything has changed, so much, but I still feel inclined to want to make movies. I've done a lot of time in TV, and I'm not saying I'll never do it again, but there is something nice and contained about a film.
So talk about this 3-day production. How long was it really? How long
It was 5 weeks.
Okay, 5 weeks.
5 weeks, and we shot in Wilmington, North Carolina, and it was a super labor of love because we had a very, very not a big budget, and but it was a labor of love, and everybody did it out of their love for the material or the character they were playing, and it was, in retrospect, it was one of the great experiences of my life.
So what drew you to the script? I'm speaking to the actors as a unit, but it's like what drew you to the script?
Shall I start?
Yes. You.
Well, it's beautifully written, and the dialogue is gorgeous, but it's beautifully wrought. There's a great turn in the third act, which I wept when I read the script, and I really liked the idea, for me personally, of this very compartmentalized character who had a joyful and open life in New York City, and then a closeted life when he went back to his family in the South, and suddenly in a life that was full of shame, and that this his niece, who he is supposedly teaching and guiding through life, is the person that actually allows him to find a cohesiveness between those two worlds, and prompts him to be brave enough to bring those two worlds together and be who he is, and also it was a story about also a gay couple that have a happy ending, which I thought was really I'm not sure I've seen.
Yeah. Usually one of them has to die.
Right. Right. And,
Just so ridiculous to have to say, but it's true.
It's true.
Yeah.
And so that felt important to me.
Well, I love the script, and I love the cast, and be able to work with Alan Ball is great. And but I really loved the character. I really loved Beth, because I feel like she doesn't have to be a center of attention. She's not like doing anything. She's actually mainly just watching. But it was because of that is that you can really see what she's going through. All of her like dialogue is very internal. I don't really have that much lines. It's mostly, afterwards I go say it, and I feel like that was just her relationship with Uncle Frank, the way she looked up to him, and later on how their relationship changed is just, it's such an interesting dynamic, and it really made me want to play her. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, in terms of a producer, I was drawn to the material because it talks about people who are different, whether you're gay or an immigrant or a person of color, and that for me hits right home, obviously. And then it's deftly written, crisp dialogue, concise, straight to the point. I don't need to say all that about Alan's writing. And in terms of actor, obviously, Wally is from a different country and he's very different. And putting him vis-a-vis Frank, it was really an interesting choice on the writer's, the choice that the writer made. And anything that Alan writes, I'm there.
Paul, you're talking about like how rich the script was, and all these different layers to it, and also it's obviously a very tight production. What was it like going to that from the Marvel universe, which is just the polar opposite?
Absolutely. Fast is the answer. Yes, really, really fast, less toys, and but I love. To me, movie sets mostly feel alike. Big or small. You do end up with the same sort of components: a director, cameras, sound man, direct. So that a lot more about it. Campus chairs feel similar, than feel different. But it was wonderful for me personally. It's a very important story for me personally, and I found the whole experience incredibly moving and frankly edifying. It's a joyful experience to put yourself imaginatively, to try to put yourself imaginatively in somebody else's experience can be the one edifying thing that comes from being an actor, I think. Otherwise,
the only edifying thing?
Well, yeah, maybe. I mean, really, when you think about it, so much of it is self-congratulatory and born out of a huge lack of personal resources and holes in oneself, but trying to imaginatively imagine somebody else's life can be a really a moving thing. That's what I have to say, rather sentimentally.
My one last question. So we really love covering below the line at IndieWire, the people who actually help the movies come to life. Who, on your crew, it's like, who are the people that without them Uncle Frank would not exist?
Well, definitely the cast. Everybody in the cast it's just was a joy for me to work with, and I was constantly surprised that people kept saying yes when we offered them the roles. I feel like our cinematographer, Khalid Motaseb, did such an amazing job and gave this movie such a beautiful look. And I would also have to say Darcy Scanlon, production designer. Mm-hmm. It really, to me, one of the things I love about the movie is it really looks like it's taking place in the 70s. It doesn't look like one of those antiseptic, everybody has the right hair and costumes and all the production design is right, but somehow it just doesn't look real. Yeah, exactly. And so those are the two that jump to mind. But really, everybody from the cast to the crew to the other producers.
Jonathan Alberts, the editor.
Jonathan Alberts, the editor, did an amazing job.
And Megan, definitely, sure.
Megan, costumes, Megan Stark Evans. Nathan Barr, who wrote the score, which I think is just gorgeous. Everybody was heroic. I mean, it was, and I feel like they're all my heroes, that people were willing to go the extra mile and work so hard because everybody believed in the story and the movie, and yeah, so
delved into it. Yeah.
yeah, all of them.